that we want to see, do go over
Number one.
number one. Okay. So you should have you need to graph both of these. For the first one, start at your y-intercept of 3. Your slope is 1/3. So up 1 to the right 3, down 1 to the left 3. Connect all of your points and draw arrows at the ends. And then for the other one, same thing. Start at positive 1. Your slope is negative 1/3, so up 1 to the left 3, down 1 to the right 3. Connect your points, draw arrows at the ends. Wherever the two lines cross, that is your solution point, so negative 3. If the lines do not cross, they are parallel, which means they have no solution. If the lines overlap, or if you look at the equations and they're exactly the same, or if you solve them and they're exactly the same, that's infinitely many. So graph at least one of the lines, draw a second set of arrows at the end, or highlight over it, or draw on top of it to show both lines. Other graphing questions? Sure. And then we'll move on to substitution. So for number 4, we have to solve both of these, get them both in y equals mx plus b, and we can do that at the same time. Subtract 8x to both sides. And divide everything by 3. So that the first equation is y equals negative 8 over 3x plus 4. And the second one, y equals negative 8 over 3x minus 3. Without graphing these, I can see that these have the same slope. So these are going to be parallel lines, no solution. But I still have to graph it. The first one would start at positive 4. The slope is negative, so I can go down 8 and to the right 3 and connect those 2 points. And then do the same thing for the other one. Start at negative 3, but go up 8 and to the left 3. My lines are a little crooked, but in general, they should be parallel lines. And that would be no solution. Questions on that one before we continue? Reminder, this section of the quiz and test is no calculator. Questions in substitution section. Usually with your substitution problems, you'll have a variable that's by itself somewhere, but 10 does not have that. That just means you're going to pick a variable, it doesn't matter which one, in one of the equations, solve for it, you'll have fractions. You know that, so you can deal with it. So which variable in which equation do we want to solve for? Okay, so for solving for this x, we have to get rid of y. We have 3x equals negative 5y minus 13. Divide everything by 3. If whatever you solved for ended up with nice decimals, you could change it to decimals, but this is not the case because you have repeating decimals, so leave it as a fraction. Then take that expression and put it back into the second equation where x is. So that would look like -6 times -5/3 y minus 13/3 minus 10y equals 6. And then start to distribute. Use your calculator. So that when we combine our like terms, what happens? They cancel, and it wouldn't be no solution because they're the same. It would be infinitely many. If they were two different numbers, it would be no solution. Questions on that?
I have a question. So if it's like 0 equals 26, it's no solution?
Correct. Other substitution questions? Seven.
14 on the
And 14.
page.
For number 7, we're solving by substitution. Solve for the variable that's by itself, so get rid of x. In substitution and elimination, it doesn't matter if you put it in slope-intercept form or not. And then take that expression and put that back in. We have 6x plus 2 times -3x minus 3 equals -3. So when we combine our terms, what do we get? No solution. Okay. Questions on that before we do 14 on the next page? So this would be like we already solved to get y. So you just have to substitute that in. And find x. Divide by the term. It's less solving because we already have y, and then we can just put that as a third term. Half of it was already solved for you. Elimination problems?
Okay.
Remember that with elimination, you're trying to get your coefficients to be the same. It does not matter if that's for x or for y. In here, how could I first? Do we want to eliminate x or y? Sure, y. If we want to eliminate the y's, we have to make these the same. 8 goes into 24, so I could just multiply the first one, or you can multiply them both, it doesn't matter. what could I multiply this by to get 24? 3. So that would become negative 9x plus 24y equals negative 18. Then if we are eliminating our y's, would we add or subtract? Add, because they're different, a positive and a negative. But when we add that, the x's also cancel. So this would be, do we want to eliminate x or y? Y, okay. So to eliminate y, think of a number these both go into. 12. So I can multiply the first by 3 and the second by 4. And then to eliminate our y's, we would add or subtract. If they're both the same, subtract. And if you're not sure, double check it. Because if I were to add, I get negative 24. So subtract. Be careful with the negatives. 21 minus 40, negative 19. X plus 0. Negative 69 minus negative 88 should be a negative 19 or positive 19 or one of those. So that our x value is -1. And then put that back into one of the 4 equations you have, doesn't matter which one, to find y. Let me use this first one. So that I could add 7. What was that?
Negative 16.
I was like, not doing that right in my head. Positive, not negative. So -1, 4. Questions on that one? Yes.
Could you also like times the second equation by -4 and then it will make it positive negative and you just add it to
Multiply this, by -4, and then that they would be the same if you only multiplied 1. Or you're talking about when you did this, multiply by -4 and then add.
Yeah.
Yes, you do that. It doesn't matter. So if you want to multiply by negatives to change the sign, you could do that, but it's up to you. Okay. Other elimination problems? 22. 22. And then we'll move on to word problems. So for 22, our x's are already the same. So would we add or subtract these? Subtract. So this would give us 0, -4 minus a -3, that would be plus, so -y. -22 minus -29 would be a plus, +7. And divide by -1. And then put that back in for one of the equations and find x. I'm going to do the first one. solve this. Let's see. Negative 10x equals negative 50. The x equals 5. And then our solution would be 5, negative 7. Questions on that? Okay. Word problems, any questions on those? So 24, the setup of 24 is going to be very similar to 25 and 26. How you choose to solve it is up to you. But if you want to see after we do 24, we can set up 23, but we won't solve that completely. So I'm going to read and highlight this as I read it. Madison bought 2 chicken sandwiches and 3 bowls of vegetable soup for $16.50, not including tax. Cliff bought 1 chicken sandwich and 3 bowls of vegetable soup for $9.50, and not including tax. What is the cost of a bowl of soup? So we need 2 variables. What do we want to call them? Sure. And C and B would represent what?
Chicken sandwiches and bowls of vegetables.
What about the chicken sandwiches and bowls of vegetable soup?
The
The cost. How much? So remember to always look at the question if you're not sure. Cost of, I'm going to get rid of the last. Chicken sandwich. Cost of. Okay, then we have 6 numbers, so we're going to use them all. How would we set up our 2 equations?
Two C plus 3B equals 650. 1650.
And the other one?
1C and plus 3B equals 950.
Alright, we are specifically just looking for the cost of a bowl of soup, but you can choose whether to solve by substitution or elimination. Which way do we want to solve by? Okay. So if we solve by elimination, we're going to end up getting rid of B, find C, and have to go back and find it, which is fine. So we can eliminate our B's since they're already the same by subtracting. We have C equals 7. And then we have to go back and find B. So I'm going to put that into the second one. Get rid of 7. We have 3B equals 250. And when we divide, you'll get a decimal. What is that decimal? And because we're looking for amount or cost, that would be either $0.83 or you can put 83 cents, not 0.83 cents, $0.83 or 83 cents. Don't put both. Do we want to see the setup of any other problem? All the more problems.
6 and 26.
So most of the important information there is in here is it's not really important because there's 3 amounts of water slides, 2 amounts of water slides, 3 Ferris wheels, and totals. So you have all of your numbers right here. Define your 2 variables. Since we're looking for the cost to ride the Ferris wheel and slide down the water slide, we can call that F and W. And then you would put your 3 numbers together for 1. So 3W plus 3F equals 1770. And then similar, 2W plus 3F equals 1550. We're not going to solve that one, but you could pick elimination or substitution. Do you want to see the setup of any others? For this one, tickets to a school play cost $5 for general admission, $3.50 for with a student ID. On opening night, 400 tickets were sold for a total of $1,588. How many general admin tickets were sold and how many student tickets were sold? So your 2 variables, G and S, for number of general admin tickets and number of student tickets. And then in this problem, you're given 4 numbers, so 3 of them go together and 1 is going to be off by itself. How do we set up one of these equations? Think about how we set up 24, 26. One of our equations is going to be set up similarly. James?
RB plus take my 50 as equals
money goes together, the cost plus the cost equals the total in cost. And then we know the other total is going to be 400. How would we set that one up? If you're only given 4 numbers, it has to be set up like that. You cannot repeat the numbers. Do we have any other general or specific questions before you guys take your quiz? So you guys are going to start with the no calculator part first, so go ahead and put your calculators up. If you're wearing a smartwatch, go ahead and take that off. When you finish the no calculator part, you can put it face down in the bin and come grab the calculator part. And then once you finish that, put it into the bin, and then you can grab your phone for those math exercises. They're always collaborative until they get abused. Until they get abused.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I have.